Okay. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Tasting 3 of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Swartland. My name is David Clark, and we are at the very beautiful Allesverloren wine estate on the northern face. Is it the northern face of Kasteelberg? We have seven beautiful wines tonight. You've got an olive oil in your pack as well, so maybe make a beautiful salad, or Andrea suggested some physical activity involving the olive oil. We can maybe quiz her on that a little bit later. First wine tonight. Before I get into the wines, as always, please ask your questions through the chat. Stephanus is on the WhatsApp to me, and so I'll ask the questions as they come in. Only good questions though. I'm not going to ask any bad questions. So you have to be very thoughtful, very inventive, maybe a bit funny to ask the questions this evening. Awesome wines tonight. Alan, shall we have a look at how we met at the? Give you the invite.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Cool.
David,
How's it, man?
how are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Good
Welcome.
to see you. I have an invitation
Yes.
for you to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Swartland.
Wow.
It's a tasting in November, and we'd love for Aspustiki to be part. Would that
Sure.
be cool?
Yes, absolutely. Can I give you a bottle of wine?
Please.
There you go. Aspustiki 2018.
Awesome. Bit of Colombard magic for November.
Excellent. I can give you a ride.
Can you?
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Let's go.
Just hop on. That was reminiscent of the scene between De Niro and Pacino in Heat, wasn't it? That was just amazing. The intenseness of the stares and the forcefulness of our acting was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Awesome. Aspustiki. I always get it wrong. Aspustiki.
Aspustiki.
I have to pronounce that second syllable really strongly, apparently.
Yeah. Give it-
Aspustiki.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Talk to us about it, Alan. What is it?
David, the first thing you should know about Aspustiki, it didn't arrive here hitchhiking. Okay, she arrived here in a coach, and it's called a kutz. There it is. So she arrived here in a coach,
Okay.
as she should.
Okay.
And she has a history going back to 2012, to an evening in March where Ibn Sadi and some friends were over having a glass of wine, and he strolled into the vineyard, very disheveled.
He was disheveled, or the vineyard was disheveled?
No, both.
Okay.
Both. And he picked a berry or two off the vines, and he said to.
I hope you got a couple of warning shots.
No.
No?
And he said, tomorrow we're going to pick a ton of this and make some wine. That was 2012. And he wanted to call it Aspustiki right from the beginning because he thought it was kind of the lost sister, forgotten sister.
So you'll have to.
She needed to come to the ball.
What is Aspustiki? What does it mean?
It's Cinderella.
Cinderella.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. That's
Cinderella
nice.
going to the ball. So
Okay.
it comes from an old vineyard planted in 1984. It was very unkempt for many years. No pruning, no watering, no nothing. Until 2012 when we started to look after it, and we've been making wines ever since. And she arrives by coach these days,
Of course she does.
and it's a dry Colombard, picked somewhere around about the latter bit of March normally, and pressed and put into old barrels and fermented like that, left in old barrels for a year, and then bottled.
Awesome. Tell us about Colombard, the variety. I mean, there's not that many Colombards around, is there?
No, so Colombard is mostly for Klipdrift. So brandy is made from predominantly Colombard,
Okay.
and there's lots and lots and lots of Colombard all over the show. Mostly younger vines.
Yep.
One or two little pockets around the Western Cape managed to escape being culled at about 12 or 14 years. And my little baby vineyard is one of those, and it was planted, as I said, in 84, so it's now 36 years old. And that's kind of a rarity to have columbine that old.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's only a few pockets like that.
And so what was happening to the fruit beforehand? It was just, nothing?
No,
or
it ended up in the co-op
just being sold off? Yeah, okay.
brandy.
Yeah, okay.
Headed for the brandy.
And the vineyard is on the other side of this mountain?
Yes.
On the southern side of, and so it's Riebeek's Farm, is it? Or is it?
No.
is it-
Our little farm. It's called Velgelier.
Okay.
The farm that we live on and where the vineyard is.
Yep.
It's a tiny little 5-hectare piece of paradise.
Yeah. And it was pretty misty that morning as well. Is that pretty common?
Yes, we do get morning mist, mostly lower down.
Okay.
We quite often in the sunshine when the rest of the valley below us is in the mist.
Yeah, right.
But that's April weather is like that.
Yep. And so columbine in the glass, it seems quite light and quite aromatic, quite fresh, quite mineral. It's not overtly tropical or fruity. It's got a nice minerality to it.
And always good acidity. That's one of the strong aspects of columbine.
Yep.
Good acidity.
So is everyone sort of clambering over each other to get to you first at a wine tasting?
No,
Usually? No.
not particularly. Very limited quantities.
Yeah.
And so we don't even have a hectare of vine.
Okay.
And we have to look after it really well because it's old.
Yeah, right. Excellent. In 2018, how did that affect columbine? I mean, it's quite a warm growing season, quite dry season, but columbine's pretty tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very tough.
Yeah.
I think it has a nice freshness about it. As I said, the acidity levels are good.
Yeah, nice. It's a beautifully aromatic wine as well. Like it's not.
It's got great texture to it for columbine. You normally think it's quite lean and it's got a lot of texture and mid-palate, which is awesome.
So Chris doesn't have a microphone, so I'm going to repeat what Chris has said. It's got lots of texture.
Yeah, mid-palate, which you
Lots
don't
of
often
mid-palate.
associate with columbine.
Yeah, columbine tends to be quite a
Austere.
yeah.
High in acid.
But this one's got a nice little mid-palate weight to it and a real sort of gravitas to that mid-palate. And it's got a nice finish as well. Like it really has this sort of a real presence in the palate. So what do you normally eat with this wine?
For lunch.
It's the best answer I've had.
The lighter meals, not a big, heavy, meaty meal. Generally, the lighter meals that we do. Yeah,
Very
lunch.
cool. So if you're making so little bottles, why do you need a forklift?
Lazy. I'm
Yeah,
lazy,
right,
Yeah.
just-
And also, I'm a bit of a gadget guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
You like a
so
forklift.
we actually got the forklift long before we got anything else.
So you needed a winery to put the forklift in.
Yeah, we built the winery around the forklift.
Good man. Well, that's Alan with his Pustaki.
Yeah.
Next up, we have, who have we got next? Billy Hughes with Nativo. Let's. It was a bit of a struggle to find Nativo, if I recall correctly. Is that right, Stephanos? Ah, finally. Got it there, yes. Billy,
David,
how's it, man? How are you?
Nice to see you.
Good.
What are you doing here?
I have an invitation for you. It's a tasting called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Swartland. It's happening in November, and we need Nativo there, please.
Awesome.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. What do I have to bring? Wine.
Glass of wine, yeah.
You want a glass of wine now?
One now and for the tasting.
Come on.
Absolutely.
David, this is great. How many producers are going to be there?
I think sort of 29 wine producers and a couple of olive producers as well.
And the guys from our area, right? All this area. Awesome.
Only the good guys.
Only the good guys. Thank you.
Exactly right.
You want to take one?
Please, yeah, thanks.
Take it with
I've got to
you.
go.
And then we are going to see you in November.
In November, yeah, exactly right.
There you go.
I've,
November.
I've got to go to River Castile.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to find.
Yeah, well, there's a huge mountain there, so you can't miss it.
Okay.
Okay, you follow that one.
Perfect.
Ciao, David. Thanks a lot.
Billy, if I don't get an Academy Award for that fall, I'll be robbed, I think.
Yeah, you will.
Billy, welcome.
It was practice.
Yeah, I think I fell over 3 or 4 times, and that was the best
Yes, I
one.
saw that.
The first one was accidental, and they didn't catch it, so they asked me to do it again.
Then they liked it, yeah.
Nativo. Talk to us about Nativo.
Nativo means native in Spanish.
Okay.
And it's about me coming from Argentina probably 30 years ago, and the sense of belonging and being in South Africa. Also about the native yeast,
I see.
and with a lot of connotation to Spanish.
Okay, very cool. And I see your ingredients here is organic grapes.
Yes.
Is it important to you, the organic part?
It is, and not so much for the certification itself, but about the spirit and the philosophy of making organic wine.
Yep.
So what you have to do, put in the bottle the flavor of the place.
Yes.
And the less intervention you have in the vineyard, like spraying herbicides or getting all kind of rubbish into the vineyard, you have to try to get it as true as it can to the place.
A true reflection of where the wine is from.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You
okay.
mustn't interfere with the vines or the soil by putting chemicals and disrupting the direction. So we organic, but we are a little bit of fanatic in a way that we don't plant cover crops. We just the weeds to grow.
Okay.
You know what a weed is?
Yeah.
What is it,
Yeah.
a weed? A weed is a plant.
Okay, so I didn't know it was a rhetorical question. Okay. I thought, sorry. I tried to answer you. I apologize.
There are two things. A weed is a plant that is growing where you don't want it.
Correct.
Or a plant that you don't know what it does.
I see.
So what we're
Yeah.
trying to understand is in the vineyard, what do the weeds do? And trying to let them give you their own personality and into the wine.
Very cool. Very cool. And you didn't really see on that footage where the actual vineyard is. So can you sort of maybe give us a rough guide of where you're growing your grapes?
It was on the right-hand side of the little round house. We have 27 hectares of vineyard.
Yep.
We have very red soils, very clay.
Yes, there are.
So for example, the red wines that are coming from that kind of soil are very masculine. They're big, the mineral, the cassis, the dark berries.
Did you think I couldn't handle one of those red wines? That way, all the white.
No, this one isn't much better for you.
Okay, good.
So
Thanks, mate.
So
You're all hard.
what we're trying to do to make it more elegant and feminine is using more whole bunch fermentation, trying to harvest early, and trying to make those wines feminine, tannic, and elegant.
Yeah, right.
And
Very cool.
non-tannic.
Non-tannic. I see that it's mostly Viognier, which is
Yeah.
kind of unusual. I mean,
Yeah.
usually Viognier is sort of like a component rather than a leading.
Yeah, but every year we do the wine according to what we get from the vineyard. So
Okay.
I wish I had more Chenin and Rosanne and Grenache Blanc.
Okay.
And that's the story. So we harvest whatever we can.
Yes.
And every season is different, and we blend it that way.
Okay.
So
Is it roughly this sort of proportions every year, or is it changed wildly?
it would be if I can choose, it would be 50% Viognier, and then the other 3 splitting.
Okay. Just so if you don't know, it's
Yeah.
77% Viognier, 9% Chenin, 8% Roussanne, and 6% Grenache Blanc from 2019. And 2019, what stands out for you from that growing season and that harvest?
We've been recovering from drought.
Yeah.
So in 2016, I had no harvest, nothing. So every year we've been coming up a little bit, 50 tons, 100 tons, and hopefully this year we're doing well. And so it was a fine, pleasant vintage after so many years of fighting. So the plants, I suppose the vines are recovering from all that stress. They're only in 2019 becoming to grow the canopy properly after.
So it took sort of 3 years to get them back into
and we're still
shape.
going. 2021, I think it's the first vintage that we're going to go back to normal.
Yeah, right. I'm assuming from the sound of things, you're dry growing these grapes as well?
Yeah,
There's
we're
no-
dry land. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And this must be obviously a struggle in a semi-desert.
Sure.
Yeah.
We get a little bit of water from a neighbor now,
Okay.
and we do furrow irrigation. So we put the hose pipe at the beginning of the road because we have a slope, and we let there run water.
There you go. The
whole-
Argentinian way.
That's exactly.
Perfect. Yeah.
So
nice.
the whole year, so winter, summer, anytime we're running water in between, and we we're putting about 300, 400 liters per plant
Okay.
and getting the soil wet.
Yeah. Well, you want healthy plants, don't you?
They have to be strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Swartland.
Now talk about the wine. What do you do in the winery?
The,
And the winery, you say it's all organic, and then the winery looks like a nuclear bunker.
I know.
Yeah.
It's, so it's made with shipping containers underground.
Yes.
And we're trying to keep everything, the temperature low and...
It looks like a going in there, you feel like, oh, okay, I'm going to buy some warheads here or something, like some weapons. You know, like does feel very militaristic.
Okay. The grapes arrive in the vineyard, and we destem them and press them. The Viognier will go to a stainless steel tank and get cooled down, try to, for a day or two, to get all the phenols and all the bitter things that the Viognier would have.
Yeah.
We're not worried about oxidation. We actually encourage hyperoxidation on the grapes. So after
What
2 days,
what does hyperoxidation do?
you want a lot of oxygen in the juice.
Why do you want a lot of oxygen in the juice?
Because it helps to oxidize the phenols.
Yes.
And then they precipitate.
Yes.
And then they don't become a problem later in the bottle.
Getting the fuck out of there. And,
No,
Yeah. Okay.
while you have a juice.
Yeah.
When they become wine, then you have a problem.
That's how Australia got started. They're trying to get all the bad stuff out of the UK.
So with the Viognier, it's important to do that. Chenin and Roussanne and Grenache, they are a little bit more friendly. But
Yeah,
the
right.
Viognier, you need to manage it.
Yeah, it's quite an expressive, quite a powerful variety, isn't it? Or it tends to make quite powerful wines.
That's why we harvested very early.
Yeah, right.
Like 3 years ago, we had a contractor, and we told her, okay, harvest the Grenache, harvest the Chenin Blanc, but don't touch the Roussanne.
Okay.
And they did harvest the Roussanne.
Of course they did.
Like a 19 barley, and we were horrified.
Quite
But,
bracing acidity, was it? Or
No, it was
fine.
fine. It's fine, and that's where we learn. We learn to have the courage to harvest early, because when you finish the wine and it goes into the bottle for the first couple of months, there's nothing there. It's like flat, and you say, I made a mistake. But then it comes up,
Okay. Very
and
cool.
then provided in here in our area, provided you have good acidity
Yeah.
and good grapes, then the rest will come.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. It's very difficult to make great wine from shit grapes, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's,
yeah.
it's
We're
probably
lucky
a little
we-
bit easier to make great wine from great grapes.
Yeah, we're lucky that we have very good grapes. Our farm is very good.
And you sell a fair few grapes as well, don't you?
We do.
Yeah.
We
Is-
do
yeah.
sell grapes to a lot of nice friends.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah.
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 Nice one. Thank
Good.
you, Billy, for bringing this wine.
It's a pleasure.
Obviously, it passes the drink test. I'm done. That's the Nativo White. Was it 2019? Yeah, 2019.
Yeah.
Next we have Devolt from Pulpit Rock. Let's do that. Devolt.
Yes,
David. Nice to meet you.
Deerwald.
Yeah, good to meet you. I have an invitation for you
Yeah.
for the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Swartland. It's a tasting in November.
So you're the notorious hitchhiker, eh?
I don't know if I'm notorious, but I'm a hitchhiker.
But you're definitely here.
I'm definitely here. And this is another one.
Exactly.
It's a tasting. I want Pulpit Rock to be part of it. Can that work?
Hell yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Do you perhaps got a bottle of wine?
I'll suggest we use the Cinso 2019.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, show the guys what's that wine like, so yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
So 2019 sounds like a plan.
Do.
Thank
Keep
you, sir.
safe.
We'll see you in November.
See you soon.
That's it.
Good.
Sorry, mate. I'm married. It's fine. No, it's fine. Pulpit Rock 2019 Stories Cinso.
That's correct.
Thanks for bringing it, Deval. Talk to me about it.
Cinso. Yeah, myself is in the area for now for the last 4 years. And when you're in the Swartland area, one of the first things that when you meet some of the winemakers in the area, they will ask you about drone cultivars. And
Yep.
being at Pulpit Rock is basically a family-owned business, and they basically have these 3 labels, which is a store.
It's just down the road from here, isn't
It's
it?
just
Yeah.
2 kilometers down the road from here, right against Kasteelberg. And they basically have the 3 labels, which they have the Stories label, and they have the backbone of the business, which is the Brink Family Vineyards labels with a like to call it the Big 8 cultivars.
Yes.
And then they have the Louisa, which is the let's say the upmarket and the flagship of the cellar.
Didn't want to bring that for us today?
No. I'll tell you about that later.
Okay.
And and there we have a Cape Blend and a MCC and a dessert wine. And then when we started to do experimental winemaking, barrel or 2 from the Cinso during 2017. Then we didn't. We had plans for the future bottling, but obviously we decided that making in that style, it should not be in the Brink family range, neither in the top end. It should fit right into the Stories range, being the cultivar and the style we like it to be. So that's basically where it started off. Making experimental in 17 and 18, and then in 2019 we took it through to bottle.
No, very cool. And how are you making it? What's the...
Well, to start off with, it's a bush wine vineyard planted on weathered sandstone, not the most fertile soils on the farm. Especially, that's exactly why we planted the Cinso there, because Cinso can be a...
Sorry, I'm going to stop you. How big is the farm? How many hectares do you have under vine?
We have 480 hectares under vines.
How much?
480.
480.
That's correct.
Just a small little family operation.
That's correct. So these things have to slip in between all the daily.
Just to upset Alan, how many forklifts do you have?
Only one.
Just one.
No, we only have the one forklift. So that's why
you got so much muscle. Yeah.
24 hours a day. So.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyhow,
480. That's amazing. This is one block of...
It's a bush wine vineyard. This is 9 barrels, so it's one part of a big vineyard.
Okay.
That's exactly where the experimentation started off with.
Yep.
And being Cinso, being Swartland, we know that it can yield quite a lot of grapes. So this specific vineyard is planted high density.
Okay.
About 5,700 vines in a hectare.
And like, if I'm in the vineyard, how close are the vines to each other?
600 apart, and they a few narrow rows, and then they have a space for the booms, and then again so.
Okay.
So it's high density, and that just encourages competition amongst the vines.
Okay.
To not be this big of a bunch and this big of a berry. So
it's just sort of restricting yield a little bit.
Exactly.
And does it push the roots down maybe to be a little bit more resistant to drought as well?
The thing about the weathered sandstone, it's quite well drained soils.
Okay.
So we have probes there managing the irrigation as well, and we try to mimic giving long periods of water over stretch the intervals in between. This started off in 2017, and then with 2019. We did a few barrels, 9 barrels, and we bottled it. We only kept it 6 months in old barrels, 2012, 2013 barrels, and bottled it after 6 months. Entered it in Michelangelo and received a double gold within the first year. So that was for us. We told the owner that's the nick in the right direction.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
you may have got a little contract extension as well.
So that's basically how it started off, and then we'll see how it goes from here.
Awesome.
So.
I mean, apart from, obviously you want to put the best wine in the bottle.
Yeah.
How do you make, in such a big farm, how do you select the fruit, or how do you select the wine to go into 8 barrels? I mean, it seems like a massive amount into a very small amount.
Yeah.
Talk me through that process.
Yeah, the one thing that you have to do on a farm that size, you have to be in every vineyard. So obviously you know exactly what vineyard is going for what wine at the end of the day.
Yep.
And then we have a few open top 2.5 ton fermenters, and that kind of stuff is we have a lot of bush vines on the farm still, which we pick by hand, and that we use for that. So luckily Cinso is slips slightly in between the Pinotage and the Shiraz. So
well, in terms of style?
No, in terms of time of harvest.
Oh yeah, harvest.
So we took the time to do that 2.5 ton separate, and yeah, we didn't work a lot, quite hard with the wine at all. Only one punch down a day, and yeah, pump overs, rack returns, a little bit more encouraging fruity character. Not being the low tannin, low acidity that Cinsault is. We try to encourage easy drinking, fruity kind of
beautiful,
wine,
like
so
glossy, bright fruit. Really,
that's what we try to achieve.
leaps out of the glass.
and,
Yeah, it's pretty. It puts a smile on your face.
Quite
as
happy
well,
with the result. We still have to see how it ends up regarding how it going to age.
Okay. Do you necessarily want to age this wine?
No,
though?
not
That's a good
really.
question, because
It's 9 barrels. If you have to age that, it's not selling very well.
No, but it's not really a style that you
No.
would necessarily want to age
No,
either.
not at
You
all.
want to
Not
just
at all.
open it, drink it fresh, drink it
Exactly.
while it's got
Exactly.
all of that youthful charm and exuberance.
And that's what we want to achieve with that. So,
Yeah, cool.
So yeah.
No, very cool. And temperature to serve? I mean, just like
Like this will
today?
probably be a day red wine. So
Yep.
you would like to serve it a little bit. It's very low in alcohol. It's 13% alcohol. So
Yeah.
so you would like to serve it maybe a little bit cooler. And like I said, it's a day red wine, so you can drink it like a white wine during the day and during lunch, Alan. So it's not obviously not a wine for a big meaty meal like you said, but more of a maybe a salad fishy kind of thing. So
no, okay, yeah,
So-
no,
so
it's
yeah.
a beautiful wine, and it just disappears in the glass, as you can see.
Where's the best place to buy a bottle of this in South
Where's,
Africa?
and for the people at home who can't hear you, Chris is asking, where can we buy this wine, just a bottle?
yeah, being starting off just yet, so it's at the tasting room at Pulpit Rock.
Pulpitrock.co.za or something, maybe?
Yeah, if you go to the website, you search Brunk Family Vineyards, or you search Pulpit Rock Winery, then they'll take you directly, and you can order online as well. So
Yeah, nice.
so yeah, being the smaller volume that it is, it's at this stage it's only available there. So yeah, tasting room.
So out of the 1 million hectares you're farming, how much fruit are you getting in on an average year? This is because when we're talking, most of these guys are farming small blocks.
Yeah,
And,
our
yeah.
own vines we get in about 4,500 tons in a normal year. We do a little bit of services as well. So last year 2020 was actually the biggest harvest up to date, and we did 6,000 tons. So yeah,
With one forklift.
with one full, about 3 harvesters.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I see.
So yeah, but like I said, we do get in some grapes and services for another wineries as well. So,
And this is one of the beautiful things I love about wine. Is like you find little gems like this in
Exactly.
super unexpected
Exactly.
places. You know, like
And if you organized enough, then you have the potential to still work that kind of magic in between.
Yeah.
Because the bigger setup, that is just a system running, but this little things you have to slip in between. So
very cool. Well, thanks for bringing it, Divo. And,
My
good to
pleasure.
see you again as well.
yeah, my pleasure.
Nice one, man. Thank you very much.
Lekker.
Cheers. Next, we have who have we got next? Swartland Winery. Marius. Marius. Yeah, I mean, how are you?
Good.
Nice one, nice one. Oh,
Welcome to Swartland Winery.
well, thank you. Yeah, I've not been here before. It's awesome.
Yeah,
very
great.
cool. We're doing
Nice
a taste. Yeah, good. We're doing going to tasting in November
Yeah.
called the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Swartland.
All right.
And we were hoping
Lovely.
that Swartland Winery might participate.
Yeah, that would be a great pleasure.
Awesome. Well, there's the invitation for you.
Thanks so much.
Do you have any wine for the tasting? Could
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
I have Swartland Idilia,
Yeah.
2017,
Perfect.
and it's a blend between Shiraz, Cabernet, and Pinotage.
Nice. Bit of pinotage. Awesome. Sounds perfect.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
We'll see you in November.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Swartland Idylia. Am I saying that correctly?
That's right.
Idylia. What Idylia? What does that mean?
Noble.
Noble.
Yeah.
What language is that from?
No.
You don't know?
You asked
Just make it up, bro.
Italian.
Italian, perfect. Yeah. Idylia. All the Italians are like spitting their wine out. Like,
It's English.
yeah. Right, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, same here.
Tell me about the Idylia. And this looks like a fancy wine. This looks like
yeah.
we were talking about lunch wines. This looks like already a dinner wine.
Yeah, I think so. This is our flagship. As you can see on the bottle, it's only 5,010 bottles made in 2017.
Yes.
So yeah, it's Pinotage, Cabernet Shiraz blend.
I've been dying for some Pinotage.
Yeah, so and I think you can, as you can taste, there's that flavors from the Pinotage, that body from the Cabernet, and that spiciness from the Shiraz.
What flavours would you associate with Swartland Pinotage? What's the sort of the typical?
I think more red flavors like strawberry,
Yeah.
candy floss maybe.
Yeah. We
but
saw a
not-
bit of candy floss on that Cinso as well. Obviously,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
related. So
but yeah, I think
yeah.
related. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but in this wine's case, I think you get more that dark, juicy dark flavors, probably more from the Cabernet.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get that spicy finish from the Shiraz,
Yeah.
and that bit of wood. That
Yeah, the wood makes it feel a bit more luxurious, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that sort of
Yeah.
gives it some real sort of luxurious feel to it, like a
That's
sort of
right.
like
So-
nice fine leather couch. It's sort of
Yeah.
you sink and it's sort of and you slowly sink into it and
Yeah.
it just
It's been matured in barrel for up to 12 or 18 months. But you can taste that integration. There's a nice integration with the flavors and the wine and the wood. So there's a nice combination, or between the wood and the wine itself.
no, very cool.
Yeah. So
And and the wood. I mean, is it all new? Is it sort of
mostly new,
Yeah.
probably 80%
Yeah.
new.
you don't have to pay that bill, I hope.
I don't.
No. Yeah. you just put the order in the PO.
So yeah. So it's we try to get that combination right.
Yeah,
So,
right. Yeah, awesome. And so your winery is located, if you drive from Cape Town through Malmesbury on your way here,
Yeah.
you're on the right-hand side, sort of, as you sort of go
Yeah,
the
just-
past, before the turn-off for Ruby
For the-
Castile,
yeah.
and then
That's right.
and just before you keep going into the northern part of the Paardenberg.
That's right.
So are your the vineyards you source from, are they located all over?
In this case, mostly around the Paardenberg,
Okay.
and all bush wine, grapes.
Yep.
And especially in 2017, like you heard before, with the drought, there was not much crop, but I think you can taste the concentration was a bit more because of the crop that was not that much.
Yeah.
So,
And the 17, I mean, it has this sort of lovely acidity to it. Like
Yeah.
you've got the fruit weight, which you expect from a warmer area,
Yes.
but it has the structure, this lovely
Yeah.
tightness on the back end,
Yeah.
which is not surprising, but it's a really pleasant end to the palate.
That's
you
right,
get this lovely
yeah.
rush of fruit, a little bit of oak, a bit of sweetness, lovely fruit, and good weight to it as well.
you get
very
that
impactful.
nice length,
Yeah.
and it stays on the palate for a while.
But it finishes clean as well,
Yeah,
so you
that's
finish
right.
fresh.
And like you
Finishes
said, the
you-
acidity is, I think, the
makes you straighten your back up a little bit.
yeah. So
Almost like when a very important person walks in the room, you suddenly straighten your back up and suck your gut in a little bit.
we try.
No,
So,
very cool.
Yeah. So
And Cabernet, talk to me about Cabernet, because I mean, we don't talk about Cabernet in the Swartland a lot. I mean,
No.
we talk about Cinso, we talk about obviously Chenin a lot for
Yeah.
whites. I mean, Alan talks about Colombard until our ears fall off. Syrah as well. Cabernet. I mean, it's been here for a long, long time. There's still a lot of it.
Absolutely.
There's still a lot of Cabernet in the Swartland.
yes.
It's good to see someone sort of putting their weight behind it.
Yeah.
What does Cabernet in the Swartland do? What's its purpose
think-
and what is it?
No, I think especially in this blend,
Yeah.
just bring that bit more body to the wine, and I think that's what Cabernet is.
Yep.
It's a bit more. It's that hardened cultivar, so you can plant it anywhere, and especially in the Swartland, I think it does well here, and it brings that a certain flavour to the palate. But it's a hardened cultivar, so it's
pretty tough, huh?
It's tough.
Yeah.
But it's a nice blending component,
Yes.
and on its own in the Swartland, I think it's doing really well.
Yeah,
So,
right, okay.
But yeah, like you said, Swartland's well known for more the Shiraz probably,
100%.
maybe the Pinotage as well. And I think in combination, especially in this blend, it does well.
Yeah,
So,
right. And does the Cabernet in this sort of need a little bit of Syrah to sort of back that up? Because it's a bit warm for Cabernet maybe, or here, or am I way off base?
No, I don't think you're way off, but I think the Shiraz just brings another component to a blend with Cabernet.
Okay.
And especially the Pinotage and the Shiraz, maybe the Cape blend or the normal Cape blend, that works well. But I think just in combination, especially in this blend, just every cultivar just brings a component to the blend that works.
No, very cool, man. Very coul. And we've got some questions apparently. Aging potential. That's a very
this wine?
It's a very short question. Thanks, Stefanos, for putting that out.
I think anything between.
So when did you release this wine to market?
Just 2019, beginning of 2019.
Okay.
So
So as a 2-year-old wine,
yeah,
more or less.
it is. But
And
yeah,
now it's
but
3 years old.
yeah, but you can, as
It's
you can
still-
taste,
yeah.
it's fairly young still,
Mm.
and so I would easily say go for 10 years. You can still do well.
I mean, it's a beautifully put together wine. I
Yeah.
mean, it's got all the right things for aging. It's got structure, it's got fruit, it's not overbalanced in any way, shape or
No.
form. I mean, it is powerful, but it's not hot, so
No.
it's not alcoholic. It's
I think, like you said,
Yeah.
it's like the previous guys that said most of the wines are like during the day or whatever. I think this one is especially is for dinner time and with a nice meal, especially with a bit more meat is involved and.
a bit more meat on the.
So,
We've found his passion project.
so it's a standard South African bride.
You're really straight when you talk about the wine. As soon as you say when there's meat involved, there's a big smile and a nod. You must run it off though, because you're still quite slim. And the Syrah, do you think that adds just? I mean, you said it adds spice.
Yeah.
Does it add a bit of acidity and a little bit of sort of like red fruit on the back end, or is that more of the Pinotage? What's the?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Shiraz is especially you give that spicy finish.
Yeah.
That's nice. But I think the Pinotage is more fruit driven than Shiraz.
Okay, yeah.
And
So needs the structure of the
so
other two.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we
So,
know.
but yeah, still, yeah,
Everyone's getting very thirsty here all of a sudden.
brilliant.
And is this a wine that you make every year, or is it how many vintages of the Idilia?
So the last one was in 2019.
Okay.
So we keep it until it sells out or it's sold out, and then we go to the next vintage.
Okay. And the 19, is it a similar sort of blend, or
We
is
try
it-
to. It's not exactly the same,
But sort of
but
within the same sort of
yeah,
ballpark. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
That's right.
All right. Cool, man. Has anyone got any questions for Marius? No?
Are you ever going to put any other grapes in, like Cinsault or?
No, I think we.
Chris is
sorry,
asking if
sorry.
there's any plans to put anything else in, maybe Cinsault. He wants it a little bit lighter, I think.
No, I don't think so.
He can't handle the power.
I think because this is our flagship, I think we can just play around with the percentages. But I think the components is there, and it works well for us. So.
And are these vineyards mostly from the Kasteelberg, Kasteelberg, Malmesbury, like all over?
Yeah.
Chris is asking where most of the vineyards are from, because obviously you source from all over, don't you?
Yep.
I mean, being the Swartland winery. Yeah.
So it's mostly around the Paardeberg area and all bush wine. So like I said before.
So it's the Cabernet Bush vine from the Paardeberg.
Yeah.
Wowzers, that's
Yeah.
that'd be interesting to look at by
Yeah.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not something you hear very often.
No.
No. Very cool.
So,
Good questions. Thank you, Chris. We're still waiting for more questions from you guys at home as well.
all right.
Marius, thanks, man. That was
No worries.
that was cool. That was very cool. And,
Nice.
and just quickly, why the bottle shape? Is it like a bit of Aubryon sort of vibes, or what's the?
You have to ask marketing.
Oh, marketing. You just drive the forklift, man.
How many forklifts have they got?
Yeah. How many forklifts do you have?
We have a bottling plant as well, so
Well,
there's,
you've got
four,
a
five.
fleet. Your fleet.
He's going to be quite happy there.
Alan's willing to work for free if he gets to drive each forklift just for 10 minutes a day. Cheers, man. Thank you very much. Next,
worries.
we have Vin from, we're trying to work out, Vin, is it Renostebos? Is it Hofstraat? What's the story?
Renostebos is a brand.
Okay, so Hofstraat is the cellar and Renostebos is the brand. Okay, let's go to the tape. Bim,
Hi, David.
you legend. How are you?
Fine, and you?
Yeah, good man. Good,
Yeah.
good. We've got a tasting coming up in
Okay.
November
Okay.
called the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Swartland.
Okay.
There's the invitation for you.
Okay.
I was hoping that Renostebos may like to take part.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome, awesome,
yeah.
awesome.
Do you want to come in and grab a bottle?
That sounds like a good plan.
Okay,
Awesome,
fantastic.
let's do
Come
that.
in.
Perfect.
Okay, so I think you can take this temper, okay? It will be fantastic with the tasting.
Awesome. 2019 Renostebos to the Morocco.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll see you in November.
Okay.
Cheers.
Ciao.
Hang on one second. Oh, there we go. Hello. I was just fixing the microphone. I'm honest. Vim,
Yeah.
how are you, mate?
I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well.
Yeah. I see you love black t-shirts.
I do, yeah, I do, because I've got a bit of lockdown bod crossed with dad bod. So
Okay.
it's not a great combination, I have to say.
Okay, good. Okay.
I have to say, I'm
great.
just looking at you, but I'm looking at the
Skylight, yeah,
the-
yeah,
the
it's
mountains in the
fantastic,
background.
yeah?
Phenomenal, isn't it? And all the rain has made it beautifully lush here at Allesverloren, and the vineyards and the wind farm, the mountains. Toolbox, what's that? Is that the Winterhoek Mountains? Yeah. And then there's the Achterwittenhoek, and then there's the Sirius Valley. Yeah. The Kobokkeveld.
Yeah,
All kinds of things happening up here.
It's a privilege to wake up here, huh, in the morning.
It's not the worst place to live and just to drink wine, is it?
Yeah, sure.
Where's the wine, bro?
Oh, yeah.
Tinta Barocca.
Okay.
Well, talk to me about Renostebos, the brand.
Okay. It was basically born in 2000 and the year 2000. You know, everybody thought that the year 2000, everything was going to a standstill. All the computers going to stop working and so forth. And that in that year, we actually thought we want to make wine, and yeah, so we
Just in case the computer stopped, you thought we were going to have something to drink?
I mean, if it was still alive after the 1st of January.
Yeah.
So and then nothing happened, and so I organized a.
Well, nothing happened with the computers, but you made some wine.
Yeah, no. so then we decided when we were still alive and everybody and all the computers were still working and so forth. So I decided to this year I'm going to make wine.
Okay.
Because everybody wants to make wine at some stage of their life. So
Really?
have you been making wine?
Oh, I've been in a cellar and being told what to do, and I probably didn't do a very good job of it. I was very good at cleaning tanks.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was in charge of the.
Yeah, but your
This-
own wine, you know,
I
winemakers
get-
work for a big corporate,
I get
and then they
winemakers
want,
to do that
and then
job,
they
mate.
make their
I've
own
got
wine.
other skills.
Okay,
I don't like, I
I'm
don't like
sure
getting up
about that.
early. I don't like getting my hands dirty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
other skills. Yeah. We will ask your wife.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's
No,
where we.
she'll tell you.
Anyway, so that is where we started off. So for me, it's a hobby, it's a passion, and I always wanted to make wine. So
Cool.
So in the year 2000, we decided this is here.
Mm-hmm.
I organized some friends, and we went out to a farm close to Malmesbury and cut the grapes ourselves. They started.
Very cool. Very cool.
Okay.
And so 19 years later, we have the Tinta Barocca being made.
Yeah. So.
What attracted you to Tinta Barocca?
Look, it's well, first of all, it's a cultivar that's been growing in the Swartland for quite a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and we like to do something that is specific Swartland.
Okay.
And the Tinta, I know this venue where we are tonight, Tinta Barocca, they've been making port for a long time from
Yeah.
Tinta Barocca and other Portuguese cultivars. But as a single varietal, I think it fits quite well, and it's quite a nice wine on its own.
Why do you think that? What in the glass do you get attracted to?
Look, the fact that it's spicy, there's nice fruit in the wine.
Mm-hmm.
It can handle the heat of the Swartland and the
Yes.
temperature. Look, I don't have any grapes on my farm, or not on my farm where I live.
Yeah.
But we buy all the grapes in to make this the wines that we make in the cellar.
Yep.
And it was just Tinta was also a varietal that I love
Yeah.
as a Portuguese cultivar, and
Yes.
also as a port.
Mm.
And again, Allesverloren also makes a single varietal.
Yes.
And I enjoyed that, and I thought that will be great to
Okay.
also have a single varietal that represents the Swartland.
No, very cool.
This cultivar, or this specific vineyard, is also over 50 years old. So and it's also coming from the Paardenberg.
Awesome. I mean, it's quite a powerful wine, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
almost like unapologetically Tinta. You know, it's dark, it's dense, it's tannic. It's got a nice sort of texture to it. It's not glossy or sweet, or it's quite an earthy kind of style of wine.
Yes.
Spicy, you'd say.
But because I buy my grapes in, you know, the farmers, and I love farmers. My father was a farmer, my brother was a farmer. They always say, listen, our grapes are the best grapes, and we will give you at the right bulling and so forth. This wine, you know, when I go, when I say, okay, that's fine, can I get my grapes? Or they phone me and say the grapes are ready. The specific wine was a bit ripe already, so that's why the alcohol is a bit high in this one.
It's quite. I'm feeling it in my. I can't even remember my words. I'm getting a bit pissed from. So what's the alcohol of this wine?
I think it's about 15.5.
Just
Yeah.
about 15 and a
Yeah,
half.
and I don't.
Could be higher, could be lower.
No. It's a little bit higher, but it's just that we try to not to make that high alcohol wines. But unfortunately, that is what you get, and that is part of the whole process. Especially in my case, where it's my passion to get the grapes and to do the best from what I got.
And I mean, Tinta Barocca is one of the varieties that sort of handles that heat and handles that ripeness better than other varieties. There's not a sort of a confected or a soupy character to this wine. It's still got structure, it's still got acidity, it's still got a little bit of freshness. Yes, it is powerful, yes, it is warm. But I mean, if you put this with a nice bit of rare meat.
Yeah, maybe not rare, but nice cooked meat.
rare.
Well, yeah. Okay, maybe. Yeah, but it's a food wine. It's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah, a bit of
food.
protein.
Yeah, it's definitely a food wine. You you must enjoy with that, and I think that's definitely the whole structure of this wine is more for food than just easy drinking.
Yeah, no, yeah. This is serious stuff, huh? You must be paying attention. You must taste carefully. What other wines do you make? How many wines do you make?
Okay, we only we're a registerer in Malmesbury.
Yes.
We at some stage our address was Barocca Street in Malmesbury because there's an area in Malmesbury where it's called the Vineyard.
Yes.
And all the street names got cultivar names.
Okay. Yes.
So the one that was the longest road in this suburb was called Tinta Barocca, or actually Barocca Street. So at some stage we were in Barocca Street, but as we move on, there was new development, and we're not in Barocca Street anymore.
So how many wines do you make?
Okay, sorry. Okay, we did Shiraz, Tinta Barocca, Pinotage, Nebbiolo, Barbera.
So you like red wines?
Yeah. Only reds.
Only reds.
Only
Why is
reds.
that?
Look, it's easier. It's because it's part-time. It's easier.
Okay.
If you red wines is more complex and more specific, and you need specific cooling and specific times that you do that.
Yeah.
This you can.
So
If you don't press
all
today,
this
you
specific?
can press tomorrow.
Yeah. Red wines are a little bit more forgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the thing.
Oh, very cool. No,
Okay.
thanks for bringing it, man. That was really interesting, and I look forward to your Nebbiolo. Where do you get the Nebbiolo fruit from?
Unfortunately, not from the Swartland. It comes from Rosenville.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to secure a bottle.
Good.
Yeah, cheers. I'm gonna have a little bit more of this because it's delicious.
Yeah.
Where in the Swartland is this vineyard? Sorry.
Chris has got a question about where in the
Okay,
Swartland is this vineyard?
that comes from Langkloof,
Okay.
from Scholes. Yeah.
Cool.
Where a lot of people get their.
It's called Rousseau.
Yeah, that's correct.
Rousseau.
Yeah.
Remember the name.
Yeah. Okay.
Very cool.
Okay. Great.
Thanks, Fim. Thanks for bringing it. Next, we have some newcomers. Chris and Andrea Maliniewicz. Chris and Andrea Maliniewicz. Chris, Andrea.
Hey, how are you?
Hello, guys.
Well,
Yeah, good, thanks. I've got something for you.
oh, what you got there?
I have an invitation to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Swartland, which is a wine and olive oil tasting in November.
Awesome.
And we'd love for the Maliniewicz to be part of it.
We're there.
Is that cool?
Love to be there.
For sure.
Awesome.
Can we
And,
give you something in return?
Well, you can.
No, you can't.
A bottle of wine.
A bottle of wine.
Awesome.
From
Schist.
the vineyard we're standing in right now,
That
our
is-
2016 Schist Syrah.
Awesome, guys. Thank you so much.
Sure, and yeah, we look forward to seeing you there.
And we'll see you in November.
Cool.
Cool.
Cheers.
Ciao. Bye, guys.
Travel safely. Looks good.
Chris and Andrea, welcome to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Swartland tasting. You've come so far. I'm surprised those hay bales didn't just ignite in the palm block.
With
There
your
was some-
heat, with
There
your
was some
heat.
proper fire going on, wasn't there? There were some sparks flying around in that video.
whenever we see you, we get so excited when we see you. So, yeah.
Andrea, welcome. You get to say hello as well.
Hello.
They're sharing a microphone, so it's going to be a little bit weird, but we'll do it.
Yeah.
What wine are we drinking? What wine is everyone drinking?
We have our our Schist Syrah 2016. So we thought share something out of our library, something really special for everybody tonight. So
Very cool.
2016 Schist Syrah, which is from Roundstone, our home vineyard.
Where we were. Yeah. Very cool.
So we're not an estate. Obviously, we started the winery in 2008, working with many vineyards in the Swartland, and Roundstone was one of them. And in time, we absolutely just fell in love with this specific site.
So it's actually down the road from Allen, isn't it?
Yeah, we're neighbours.
It's on the same
We're
sort of
neighbours, yeah.
road. It's
In lockdown, we had many barbecues on the border together. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you didn't cross. You didn't break any rules. Of course you didn't.
We barbecued on the boundary. So yeah, we're
Did
neighbours.
you barbecue or did you braai?
Oh, we bride, but
A little bit of both.
yeah.
We bride and then we got a bit hot. Yeah.
But yeah, it's really for us an incredible vineyard. It's on Kasteelberg here, on the other side of the mountain.
Yes.
Very shallow, rocky soils that make wine with amazing tannin and structure. So we just it's a site we love for red wine specifically.
Talk to me about schist. What is it?
So schist is a sedimentary rock. So 400 million years ago, South America and Africa were like one big continent called Gondwanaland, and before that formed, there were all the sedimentary rock was laid in the ocean between them, and that was pushed up and made these mountains. So it's a sedimentary rock that's hundreds of millions of years old.
Okay. So how is that different to sort of the granite from Paardeberg or the iron-rich soils?
Yeah, so a lot of it is down to the hardness of the rock. Okay. So slate's quite hard, or schist is quite hard. Paardeberg.
So schist is sort of a slatey type of vibe?
Yeah, it's a type of slate. Yeah.
Okay.
And Porceleenberg, which is another incredible wine from the Swartland. It's also on.
You're skipping ahead to Friday.
Okay, I'll keep quiet then.
So
it's a sedimentary rock, whereas granite is it's an igneous rock.
Okay.
So it's formed from volcanic activity.
Okay.
And basically in the Swartland, the Paardeberg, which is a granite mountain.
Yes.
It's super sandy, very very deep soils. And Kasteelberg is very shallow, very rocky soils. That's the main difference. I mean, to break it down to the most simple thing.
Yeah.
And on
that's good for me.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. You know your audience. That's good.
The shallow soils make more dense, more sort of structured styles of wine.
Yeah.
Whereas Syrah in the Paardeberg tends to be more floral, perfumed, fresh.
So the lighter the wine, the more aromatic and leaping out of the glass, and then the heavier the soil, the more dense and darker and more sort of brooding to give it a personality.
Yeah, and structured. So exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
So
and 16, we've heard 16 was a tough vintage in the Swartland in terms of heat and.
Yeah, it was the first year of the drought. Yeah. So this was really
was it the heat or was it the lack of water or was it the combination?
Of water. It wasn't actually a super hot vintage for us. It was a really dry vintage. So,
okay.
I mean, Billy was saying he harvested no grapes. You can imagine how many hectares? You have 30 hectares of vines. 27 hectares of vines, and he
Chris wasn't listening to the earlier part where Billy was talking about his farm,
but you. Now Chris always accepts.
But you harvested 0 kilograms of 27 hectares of vines in 2016.
He was surfing though, so.
No, he wasn't. The vines were stressed. So it was a tough vintage from the drought point of view, and I think you experienced that in our wines in 2016 as well. So there's a lot of concentration, a lot of richness. We find a lot of intensity in the wine in 2016.
There is a real sort of almost sort of like a bit of a vortex you get sucked into the glass. Every time you sip it, you get a little bit more out of the wine, but it's still you feel like it's holding back.
Yeah. And obviously in the vineyards we had to be really careful in this year we dropped a lot of crop.
Yeah.
So it reduced the kind of stress that the vines were going through. So we did have to reduce a lot of crop, and this is it's a vineyard we dry farm. So although Kasteelberg is quite difficult to dry farm, through more kind of natural farming with cover crops and mulches and compost, we've been able to dry farm this, which is a challenge on Kasteelberg.
Yes.
And you still get great, I think, purity, freshness in the wine.
But being Kasteelberg, does it not get more rain than other parts being next to the mountain with that sort of?
Yeah, well,
is it still just north of fuck all?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, where we are about 450 mils in a normal year.
Okay.
2016, we're like 240, 250. So
And what's-
that's technically a desert.
Yeah.
But if you go to kind of between us and the Paardeberg,
Yes.
you're sitting on half of it. It's unsustainable to try and farm vines.
Yeah. And so what is that level of sustainability for annual grey fawn if you have no other form of...
Like 400.
400 is the
is
real
kind of,
sort of the...
Yeah.
That's, and then you're like,
So
your
we're on
average
the
is
limit.
450.
Yeah, we're on the limit.
Yeah.
So we're literally on the limit. Yeah.
Good luck, guys. So this is a part of a range where you sort of do terroir sort of or soil type. So you've got iron. Is it iron?
Iron, granite, and schist.
And granite schist. And then now you've got a little very important word underneath Melanie here called roundstone. So now this is a single vineyard wine.
Yeah.
Is it registered as, or it just is?
No, so we're not very good at paperwork in the Swartland.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so basically when we started
But
the
it
winery,
is a single vineyard wine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when we started the winery, we wanted to make one wine, which is a blend of vineyards from all over the Swartland.
Yeah.
So our idea was to make a Syrah, which was going to express the Swartland as a whole. But every year we noticed that the vineyards of Syrah from the Paardeberg always made a very vibrant, very fresh, very perfumed style of Syrah.
Yeah.
Kasteelberg was always very tannic. So in 2010 we started bottling these vineyards separately to show them.
Yes.
And sometimes they were blends of different vineyards together. But now we've started actually bottling the vineyards on their own. So it's just soils and roundstone is the vineyard.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. And like looking forward, will you think you have like, because obviously you're on roundstone now, we'll maybe chat a little bit about that as well. Do you think you might have other schist Syrahs with a different...
It's possible, yeah, it could
with
be.
a little different name under here?
Yeah, no, it could be. Or
Yeah.
a different variety. We could do a schist Grenache or a granite Grenache or, so for sure.
Sexy times ahead. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Anyway, I've talked enough. I'm going to have...
I was going to say, yeah.
Just to add another accent into the mix.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's actually all fake. We're just putting this on.
I'm actually, I'm actually from Bloemfontein.
I'm also from the States.
Yeah. I thought you were from Zambia. Yeah.
Exactly, Free State.
Now you're more in the cellar, aren't you? You're in charge of the wine. Well, when it becomes wine, you're in charge of making it grapes into wine. Talk to us about what you're doing in the cellar here with this fruit.
I mean, essentially, when the fruit comes in, it's coming in its most perfect, pure state, and it's just my job not to mess it up.
Yeah.
So we do believe in hands-off winemaking. Well, actually, technically hands-on, but physically our own hands and not machines.
I see.
And not forcing. So to be gentle and let natural extraction happen as much as possible.
Okay.
But being the custodian, when we say that we're the winemaker, I'm not the yeast. I'm not the natural enzymes or the bacteria that's actually making the wine. I'm the custodian that's helping it through its life.
I don't think anyone's making that claim, to be fair.
A couple of guys in Stellenbosch.
Well, maybe, yeah. They'll harness the world's energy and put it into the wine. Yeah. But I mean, obviously, you're making decisions that affect the quality. What decisions are you making, or what decisions aren't you making to ensure that is the clearest possible pathway to the bottle?
Yeah, so I mean, Syrah is just an amazing chameleon of terroir, and I think what's so important is that if we're going to put the name of the soil, whether it's granite, schist, or iron, that we're letting that shine through the most. And by no means are we saying that the vines are taking up those minerals from that vineyard, and you're actually tasting the soil itself. You're tasting... Maybe a little bit. But what we're really saying is that, it's that structure of the soil that Chris was speaking about and the way the vine grows on it, and that's what makes it taste different.
Yes.
And if I interfere too much in the winery, then it's going to negate that. So when the grapes come in from our 3 different soil types, it's vineyards that are pretty much the same age. It's the same pruning, the same people working in the vineyards. And then we pick at the same ripeness level, and it's a tiny window of harvesting in the Swartland. I mean, a maximum of 10 days for Syrah. So they're all coming in at about the same time.
Yes.
And then we're treating the 3 different soil types identical to really let that soil shine through.
So you don't... it's an interesting concept or an interesting philosophical conversation. Say, well, what do we do? Do we do the same thing for each of the different fruit to sort of give a sort of the same looking glass through, or do we do what we think is best to accent each fruit and maybe change our approach slightly differently for different soil types? But you've obviously opted for the former.
For the specific soil, specific wines. So that way it's not a winemaking decision that's making the difference between the wines. It's actually mostly the soil being the strongest fingerprint on terroir.
Yes.
And obviously there are going to be some microbial differences from the different vineyards as well. But we do think that in the Swartland, all other things
So I wasn't talking on a microbial level. I will never ever talk on a microbial level. Sorry, I interrupted your flow. Sorry.
No. So for different wines and different varieties that we're working with, we do try to optimize what it's trying to showcase.
Yes.
But in the case of these wines, we want the soil to be the strongest voice of the wine.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Yeah, but it's interesting because obviously man or woman in this case is woman is obviously the biggest impact on wine. I mean, without the impact of human, it doesn't happen. So it's really interesting for me to, regardless of the makeup of the soil, or to talk to the person who makes the decisions on how those decisions are made, and also more to the point, not decisions are made, but why they're made. Yeah. That's the really interesting part for me. That's that sort of cerebral nature of wine that really keeps me coming back to wine. Even when I get wined out. I mean, we're all wine professionals at the tasting, and there's lots of wine interested people at home. I'm sure you can drink too much wine in terms of the actual beverage, but the mental sort of quest for knowledge never stops. You just can't know it all, and so that's really one of the things that keeps me sucked in, and that's, I think, will keep people getting sucked into wine forevermore.
Yeah. But I mean, these are all 100% whole cluster, the same oaking.
Yeah, so the decisions that are made are when to pick, but we try to pick them in that same ripening period.
Yes.
We do decide to do it 100% whole cluster, because that really puts that extra magnifying glass on the character, specifically the tannin that you're getting out of the soil.
I'm going to interrupt you, sorry.
Sure.
Whole cluster, obviously, you're not destemming the berries. How does that magnify? What does that magnify?
So the stems themselves are part of the vine, are part of the cluster.
Yes.
And we're not doing any carbonic, so we are crushing the grapes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the stems themselves bring out three things. So a freshness, like I always say, like a perception of freshness. It makes it feel cooler in the mouth. And in a hot, dry area.
I'm getting?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in a hot, dry climate, it gives you this freshness and this balance that I adore.
Yep.
A grip, it just kind of enhances the tannin. So whether it's the linear tannins of the granite soils or the more boxy tannins of the schist, that is all heightened by the stems.
And the stems give it almost like an astringency to it, like from that greenness of the stems. I mean,
which
green.
Is,
it's a horribly charged word, green.
No, but I love it because it's a palate cleansing green.
Yeah.
But one of the amazing things is that just awesome fragrance, that sexy Syrah, violety, lily character.
How does that come from the stems though, that sexy, violety, lily vibe?
It builds with each other. It brings all of the characters of the wine to the surface.
Magic.
It is magic.
Magic.
Yes.
That's the answer.
Yes.
Magic. And so once you get this amazing fruit in, and you do fucking nothing to it because it's totally amazing. Once it's wine, what do you do then?
So I only do the single soil wines in small format barrels because I want to have that more intimate experience with the punch down. So it's just hand punch downs.
Okay. So small format, 225s, 300s?
500s.
500s. So they're not that small.
It's all relative.
Chris is smiling right now.
I have to pay for them.
Not the joke, bro, but okay.
One track mind, that But I want that intimate experience with the fermentation itself. So when you're doing the punch down, you're feeling where there's warm and cool pockets. You're feeling if there's resistance, and so therefore it is a much more natural extraction than if you're using equipment that is forcing it down, whether or not you want it.
Sorry, I got a bit lost there. Now, this vineyard on Roundstone, did you plant it or was it there already?
This is why we bought the vineyard.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is why you bought the farm, because this vineyard was on the farm.
So we've been working with this vineyard since 2004, and we were actually introduced to it by Ibn Saudi.
Yes.
And he still gets a little corner. I don't know if there's a question there that he's flashing.
Oh, there's lots of questions.
It fits in with us.
Yes, this is where I'm going. Yeah.
But
I'm a professional, mate. We'll edit this out, it's fine.
But when we started working with Swartland fruit in 2004, it was one of the first vineyards we started working with, and when it became available for sale, it was time for us to grow up and become more mature winemakers and start really fine-tuning, because it's really cool when you're young and you're hopping around anywhere you can go, but when it comes time to really buckling down and focusing and creating your own fingerprint of what you think the region stands for, it is important to have some land.
And you've been planting vineyards on Roundstone as well?
Yeah.
We've seen, we've got a question here. This is where I'm going with this line of questioning. We've seen that you've got along the contours of the slope, and as I walked up, I walked past some vines, walked past some hay bales, obviously keeping some moisture in. But there was obviously all this sort of like natural fynbos in between. Maybe 10 rows, then some fynbos, and what's the purpose of that?
So yeah, I mean, we're trying to, I suppose, be as natural as we can. Billy talked about it earlier, trying to be more organic and more natural. But for us, it's really always about trying to make the best possible wine. And I think we're super lucky here in the Swartland that it is actually easier to be more natural here than it would be in other parts of South Africa, in Constantia or Hemelade.
Just lack of moisture,
yeah,
lack of
we don't have as
disease
much
pressure.
rainfall and that kind of thing.
So it is a balance. Sorry to interrupt everybody, but it's quite an interesting point. I mean, obviously, there is a difficulty with moisture in the ground, but moisture above the ground can be a problem with vines.
For sure, yeah.
So
and
it is a
having
plus minus
rainfall at the wrong
relationship.
time.
Yeah.
But so that's just one thing. And this is the vineyard right here. So the palm rock. Fine, you're the bomb. This is for us a big vineyard. It's 20 hectares. So for us it's a pretty big vineyard.
Yes.
And what we did here is we didn't want to create a monoculture, because we in the 20 years that the Syrah has been planted around Roundstone, we've never had to spray, or us or the previous owner never had to spray pesticides, because it's really well balanced the ecosystem there. But 20 hectares is quite a big block, so we've broken the vineyards up with these corridors of fynbos, and this is Rosa Kruger's brainchild. She's incredible. So we planted
Shout out to Rosa, funny Rosa.
Yeah. We planted these corridors of fynbos in the vineyard that kind of every 50 meters splits the vineyard up, and wasps and ladybirds live in the fynbos, and then they go and feed on the aphids and calanders and that kind of thing. So it just kind of maintains that lovely natural balance that we already have in the.
So you're actually farming the land, and you're looking after the land. You're not just farming the vines.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're lucky. I mean, in South Africa, we've got we only have so much water, but we've got a lot of land.
Yes.
So we're limited more by the amount of water we have. So
yes.
So we could afford to plant 4 hectares of fynbos in the vineyards, and not just plant 20 hectares of vines. Yeah. So
very, very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
for
bringing this wine. It's delicious.
Sir. Yeah.
Aging of this wine. I mean, obviously you've bought it. It's got a couple of years on it already. It's still super fresh. It's still super tight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously everyone's like fighting over the bottle. The bottle's almost done. The first vintage was what, 2010? Was the schist? Was with the first? Yeah. Obviously things have, things have changed slightly, and you've not moved massively, but you've found your way going forward, and this is obviously a much more permanent fixture than it was at 2010.
Yeah, for sure.
What's the future for this wine going forward? This vintage, this 2016.
Well, I mean, you mentioned that we started this wine in 2010 specifically, and we've been maybe clever, maybe lucky enough to be keeping back library stock of all of our wines, and we've started doing a couple years ago 10-year verticals of all of our wines. So we're reaching 10-year vertical phase for this wine.
Yeah, very cool.
So yeah, next year we will start presenting 10-year verticals, but it's not stopping us from drinking them at home still. I actually have to stop Chris from drinking all the library stock so that we can share it with people. And what is...
So just for those at home, there is library stock at... So yeah, just there's a gate, but yeah, if you've got a big enough bucket, you'll get through.
But what's amazing is, you know, tasting the 2010s and up to these wines now is just how incredible they do age. They're just awesome umami wines. They're awesome on their own or with food.
Yeah.
And we're, you know, really excited to see how they evolve, but how each vintage is still showcasing itself. You know, in South Africa, our different vintages are more about harnessing the sun rather than, you know, in the Northern Hemisphere, oftentimes they're dealing with, you know,
But
rain
it's all
or
about
hail
Northern
or
Hemisphere here. That's irrelevant to this discussion.
So you taste that different perception of harnessing the sun in each vintage. And as Chris said, in 2016, it was super dry, but it wasn't incredibly hot. It was a very quick harvest because there was no water in the ground. And we're just so excited of how it's aging, because it actually, in that sort of concentration of the grapes, the smallest grapes we've ever had, pea-sized, but it meant everything else was concentrated too. So including actually the acidity and the tannins, and those are all things that will help it age through its life.
Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for bringing it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And good chatting to you guys and learning a bit more about Roundstone and the Melanie projects.
Cool. Good to see you.
Oh, likewise. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay, almost finished. Last wine, the most important wine, the host's wine. We've got Wilhelm from Allesverloren with his 2013. Well, I can't call it vintage, but what do I have to call it? I have to call it fine old vintage. Let's go to the tape. We're not going to the tape. Wilhelm.
Yes.
Hey man, how are you?
All right, self.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah, thanks, self.
Nice one. I've got a invite for you. For a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Swartland tasting.
Oh, lovely.
We're doing it in November. For
Yes.
wine and olive oil.
Sure.
And we're hoping Allesverloren might like to take part.
Yeah, sure. Let me
Awesome.
give you a bottle of wine.
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, I'll give you one of our final vintage of Allesverloren.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's gonna be nice. That's gonna be perfect.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy.
We'll see you later.
All right, thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Trying to get this in shot.
Hey.
Wilhelm, cheers, man. How are
Yeah,
you?
cheers. How's it? All right, thanks.
Nice one.
Yeah, lovely evening here in Allesverloren, eh?
It is. There's worse places to be.
Oh.
There's a lot of worse places
It's
to be.
incredible.
This is
Yeah.
beautiful. No, thanks,
Yeah.
man.
Listen, first off, I just want to thank you guys for coming here tonight, but also obviously thank Santam, the sponsor of the Swartland wine and olive route, for also helping making this possible for tonight.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Go Santam.
Yeah.
Nice one. Thank you. And back to your normal programming.
So I got a wife, so
Had to pay the bills.
Allesverloren. It's a pretty institution in the Swartland, isn't it? I mean, it's been around for a long time. It's a really important estate.
Yeah.
Tell the people at home and tell me about it.
Yeah, I don't want to get into details to get boring, but yeah, it's
Well, no,
it's-
details
it's,
aren't boring. If
yeah.
they're good details, they're not boring.
A lot of time people ask you why would you call a farm Allesverloren?
But what does it mean?
But Allesverloren means all is lost, and it basically happened in 1696, where the farm was burned down by the Bushmen. because I had some
So
fights
what year?
in 1696.
1696.
Yeah, so Allesverloren is the oldest wine estate in the Swartland.
So it's going back a couple of years.
Quite a few,
Okay.
yeah, quite a few. So the name was registered as Allesverloren in 1704, and the Milan family that currently is still the owners, they took over in 1872.
That's quite
So
amazing.
it's currently actually on the 5th generation, the 6th generation is also on the farm, and the 7th generation is already born and on their way as well. So the Milan family is actually farming on different areas as well.
Just put a nipple on the bottle and away we go.
Yeah.
Mother's milk for the Milans. So port or vintage? What is it? Sorry.
Fine old vintage.
I call
It's a
it
vintage
port.
port.
Sorry.
Yeah.
If the Portuguese are around, they can arrest me. Is this what Allesverloren does the best? You think?
Well,
is that your sort of your?
Well, it was the first wine actually. I think one of the first wines actually made on Allesverloren.
Okay.
So a lot of people will be familiar with the Allesverloren Fine Old Vintage. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to say port anymore because the same rules as champagne. So you're only allowed to say port in Porto.
Okay.
So we decided to call it the Fine Old Vintage.
Well, you can call it port. You just can't put port on the label.
No, yeah, you're just not can't put it on the label.
Important
Yes,
distinction.
precisely. Yes,
Yeah.
precisely. So,
Yeah.
so I think a lot of people, as mentioned, will know Allesverloren through its port. And because of the port, we make a lot of Portuguese cultivars. We have a lot of Portuguese grapes, Tinta Barroca, Touriga Nacional, a lot of different ones.
So Tinta Barroca, Touriga Nacional. What else have you got?
Well,
on the
in this one, we've got Tinta Barroca, Touriga Nacional, Suzal, Tinta Amarela, Tinta Francisca, Touriga Amarela, some Pontac, some Shiraz. So yeah, so it's got a lot of stuff in
Good
there.
a little bit. And Pontac.
Yeah, some little Pontac.
right,
We're actually one of the few farms still in South Africa that's got a few. The only one in South
That's
Africa
cool.
that's got a few, and it's almost gone. So
Is
we
it-
actually have to do
Pontac's one of the
something with it.
varieties with red juice, huh?
Yes, same as Suzal. There's also
Suzal as well.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
there you
yeah.
go. We're all learning together. That's great,
Yeah.
isn't it? So, fortified wine is
Yes.
fortified because you add spirit.
Yes.
Why do you add spirit to wine? And what spirit do you add, by the
Well,
way?
we actually
is it brandy or is
yeah,
it?
we put in a blend of brandy and a 96% alcohol,
Okay.
grape spirits.
Just the 96.
Yeah, so it comes out about 82%. The mix
Okay.
that we put in, and the reason for that is just to stop the fermentation. So the making of a port wine is
This will be really interesting for people.
It's half natural. So basically, where normal wine will ferment, the sugar will be turned over to alcohol.
Yes.
Where this is also happening like that, but only
So
halfway.
So normal red fermentation.
Yeah, the normal red fermentation up to the point of about 5.5–6% alcohol.
Okay.
And then we put a lot of alcohol with the wine.
Okay.
And
that
then
kills the yeast.
That kills the yeast, and that's why you've got natural sugar in the wine as
And
well.
so there's the yeah, as you say, there's sugar that is unfermented, so there's quite a bit of sweetness,
Precisely, yeah.
high alcohol.
Yeah.
And so why do that though? What's the purpose of it?
Well, it initially was actually made to be able to export the wine all the way to England,
Okay.
because the wine obviously keeps well.
And the boats were slower then, weren't they?
Yes, very, very slow. So they had to be able to keep the wine, and that's one of the ways they had to do it. So,
Yeah, okay, cool.
But
So-
unfortunately for us, a lot of people.
Vim's very keen.
Yeah, Vim loves the wine, but a lot of
Much
people.
lighter.
Go Vim.
Much less people are drinking port these days.
Yeah, why is that? Is it? Because I mean,
well-
I would have thought with Uber
Precisely. Yeah.
that people don't have to drive that much.
Yeah, I think still that old perception that people still have that about the port style wine is you can only have it after dinner or maybe with cheese or something like that.
Yes.
But I mean we as from the Ports Association side want to try and get people to drink port as with their mains and before a meal or whatever, because I mean this would go great with some spicy foods and stuff like that. So
What kind of spicy foods?
no, it's like a sweet and sour. It's one of the best meals. I don't know what the name is. It's a wine that a meal they make in China.
Okay.
It's a sweet and sour fish.
Right.
This thing will be
Like
absolutely.
like fish.
Well, it's
Fish oil and
it's actually the fish is almost turned inside out and
Yes.
with sweet and sour sauces in there and stuff.
Yes.
It's incredible. I don't know what the name is.
Yeah, that's okay.
It doesn't make a lot of sense to name it even here tonight,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean it's a lovely.
No, but port. I mean, port when it's done well is as balanced as anything else on the table. You don't even notice the alcohol when it's done well, and this
Yeah.
is one of those examples.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's very
obviously-
important. Yeah, very
yeah.
important to try and get the integration of the alcohol with the wine because
Yeah.
it shouldn't stay apart. This wine, luckily, was matured was kept for 4 years actually in barrel. We usually it's only for vintage only used normally for about 2 years.
Okay.
But this one was about 4 years. This is still at 2013, so it's well matured. So all the alcohol's very nicely integrated into the wine.
And it's got a nice sort of caramel sweetness on the back
Yeah.
end. Like it gives a real nicely warm feeling to it. Really homely feeling.
Yeah.
And so, all those varieties, do you put them in because you have them here, or do they all play a part?
No, I believe every single one makes a difference. The main components are the Tinta Barocca, Touriga Nacional, and Suzal.
Okay. Well, maybe let's talk about those three in order.
Yeah, we had some Tinta Barocca tonight. It's
Yeah.
a lovely red wine.
It's quite powerful, isn't it? It's got
precisely
quite a
because the Tinta Barocca gives you a lot of that. Like also mentioned, more this side of the Kasteelberg gives a little bit more heaviness to the wine.
Yep.
Where the Touriga in this area gives a little more fruitfulness to the wine, and then obviously we put in the Suzal to get a lot of color in the wine.
Being a
because
red
precisely
red
you get
variety,
really dark wines, and it's important with the Suzal. If you harvest too early, if you harvest about 22 budding, so that's about 220 grams sugar. That's
22 budding's quite. I mean, it's not ripe, is it?
No, but
That's
we
sort of like
we taken our port wine at about 25.
Okay.
And it's important for specific Suzal. If you take it into early, you get a lot of sweet flavors in the wine. You don't want in the port wine. So when you harvest it later on, you get more heavier, darker fruit flavors in the wine. Yeah.
Fortified wines. You've already mentioned that they were. The original purpose of them was to age while being shipped on old slow boats up to Old Blythe. I'm assuming the aging potential of 2013 is
infinity almost.
Is infinity.
That's the whole idea of our port.
Yeah. So the fortification helps aging.
Precisely.
And what happens to ports when they age? So if I buy a bottle of this now and then open it in 50 years' time, what am I going to expect?
For me, again, with the alcohol, and because we try and work the wine quite hard.
How are the 1682s at the moment?
The what?
The vintage 1682. Is that drinking pretty nicely at the moment?
No, I haven't tasted that one. I haven't tasted that one yet. But the nice thing also, because of the high alcohol, quite a strong tannin, the wine just matures very slowly, so the oxidation is slower. So the wine it mellows and softens up, but it takes a very, very long time. So it will mature beautifully over time. Yeah.
And obviously it's got high alcohol, and does that impede it? Sort of, do you find that coming out more as it ages, or does it disappear into the wine?
No, it definitely integrates nicely into the wine.
Yeah.
We had a very interesting tasting pairing with. Of a few vintages, and it's actually interesting how even younger vintages will show a little bit how different. It's interesting to taste the port style wines, and then as you go through the vintages to see how where the alcohol starts integrating better into the wine through aging. So yeah.
And then talk to me about the spirit you add. You say there's a bit of brandy and a bit of 96%.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you make the decision there? What's the?
Well, that's before my time. Before I came to Allesverloren, they played around with some different mixtures.
Okay.
And so they got to the one that works for Allesverloren. To have a certain amount of brandy spirits with aging, and then the brand new.
And so the brandy spirit with aging.
Yeah.
What are we talking about there? How much aging has that brandy spirit?
No, it's usually about 3 years.
Okay.
3 years, yeah.
So it's like Clippy's 3-year-old.
Yes, precisely. Yeah. So you get a little bit of that spicy, oaky flavors.
Yeah,
from
you do get that absolutely. Yeah.
Because the wine, I mean, as mentioned, the wine went to small oak barrels for 4 years, but it's old barrels. So you don't necessarily. It's not there for oak character. It's more for maturation. Yeah.
And now to the farm. Or is it an estate? I mean, there's an estate on the label.
No, it's estate. It is estate, but it's not estate wine. We've got 2 estate wines, but yeah.
Talk to me about those.
We've got a Tres Vermelhos. It's called Tres Vermelhos. It means 3 reds. Tres Vermelhos.
Okay.
Ironically, it's basically a Porto style wine. So it's also got Tinta Barocca, Touriga Nacional, and Suzal. So it's the same type of same cultivars, so same type of flavors that you get in a dry red wine.
Yes.
So it's interesting for people to taste it with each other.
And do you pick the fruit at the same time, or are you?
No, not with this is the same time, but not with the traditional Melos.
Okay, right. Which is first? Which one is later?
The Tinta is usually the earliest, and then the Touriga Nacional.
No, but are you picking the Tinta for this and the Tinta for the other?
No. Okay, for this, we have the blocks is actually mixed up.
Okay.
So we've got port blocks. So the port block is actually mixed in between. So there's Tinta Barocca, Suzal, and Touriga inside one block.
Okay.
So we have to take the samples of the block and make a decision, and hopefully the average out.
Okay.
But then the normal cultivar wines usually is on their own whenever they are ripe. Usually about 25, 26. So we're pushing for a little bit higher alcohol in the wine. So about 14. I had some wines with a 15.
Some more dinner wines.
Yes, precisely. Yeah. And an interesting, important thing for us as well is mentioning earlier that we're trying to get people to drink more port wine. Is to get them to play around with it. I mean, don't just think about after dinner. It's a lovely cocktail you can make. Is you take 2 shots of this or 1 shot of brandy, and it's a lovely.
Yeah, because this is low alcohol already.
Yeah, it's
so
only 20%.
You
need some more brandy.
Give us some.
So precisely.
Give us some. Give us some cheers.
Make some.
Just as if you want to stay, especially if the in-laws are over. That's a great
conversation starter.
Yeah. Are you saying 2 shots of this and 1 shot of brandy?
2 shots of that and 1 shot of brandy. Yeah.
No.
Let's try.
Yeah. And also, what actually worked, they made a mistake last year. I had a lovely winemaker dinner, and they were supposed to use our red muscadel. That we love using our red muscadel with a.
Is it Jeripico style?
Yeah, but we would like to put a shot of that in a gin and tonic.
Yes, that'd be nice. Yeah,
and
that's a more appropriate proportion.
Yeah, and they actually made a mistake and they put this in there.
Oh,
so they put the gin and tonic with a shot of. Port, but it actually worked.
But port and tonic, I mean, tawny port, this is not a tawny port obviously, but tawny port and tonic is a fairly classic sort of sundowner.
Yeah.
And would this work with a bit of tonic, you think?
It did. It actually does. Yeah, so it's lovely. Actually,
because the sweetness of this and the bitterness of the tonic would work quite nicely.
Nice and refreshing.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
So
that's why, I mean, people just have to think a little bit outside the box. And they'd say, no, I don't drink port wine, or when do I drink it? Because a lot of people usually have 1 bottle somewhere in their cupboard. Never drink it.
But it's also been open for 14 years, and then you get back to it and it's like, this is a little bit dusty.
That's I don't remember it.
No shit, bro. Well, and it's next to that bottle of Noily Pra, your auntie opened. Like awesome, man. Thank you very much for bringing it and to enlighten everybody on the final vintage, not port. Final vintage wines. Have we got some time for some questions, Stefanos? Is that you're not just busy drinking? Okay, good work.
Can you get some wine? Because I think we're out of wine.
We drank everything. No, we've drank everything. Oh my goodness.
Okay, but can I get up to get a bottle of wine?
You can go get a wine for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks Allesverloren for hosting us.
Yeah.
No, awesome.
No, it's lovely having you guys here.
Van
Milan Port.
Jawel, drijfbol. Daar zijn 2 bottles daar. Voor jou, dit Barocca Nebbiolo.
I'll get, Vim's doing Nebbiolo, but we can't open that because it's not Swartland, so we'll have to do that once cut.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah. Just a quick question. I asked this question at Kalmoesfontein. I always do. Yeah.
It's better in.
I have to slow down my. What's that second syllable again?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Is. Yeah. Okay. No, but is Riebeek with the schist? Obviously very different to the Paardenberg and the iron-rich soils of the Tivo. Do you think there's a case to be made for Riebeek and surrounds to be award?
Yeah, well, it already is an award.
No, hang on. Take the microphone there. But in terms of actual on the label on paper? I mean, obviously it's different.
Okay, yeah.
Because I mean, Swartland is a massive place. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously I hitchhiked around and it took me forever. I mean, going from Malmesbury up to Iandakale and
Took forever,
you know the Pekingese, at the bottom of the Pekingese Kloof Pass. It's not it's not
Look,
exactly
I
the
think-
Imel and Ada Valley.
No, for sure. I think you know we've actually talked about this a lot because there are a couple of like wards within the Swartland.
Yeah.
So where we are here, there's a ward called Riebeekberg.
Is there
And-
one? Oh,
yeah, there is a
okay.
ward already. and
Does
then-
anyone use it?
No.
Why not?
Well, Riebeek cellars, I think they have 2 wines.
On this side
And
of the mountain.
then on
Okay.
the other side where we are and Alan is, there's
Yes.
a ward called Riebeek's Rivier.
Yes.
So there is a ward, like we could make our Shistsira Riebeek's Rivier
Oh,
wine of
you
origin.
fall within that.
We
yeah.
could, yeah. And then there's Malmesbury Hill. So there are a couple of wards.
Okay.
Malmesbury
Are
Hills
these,
is
are
like
these
the-
recent things or what are
No,
they?
they've been around for a while.
Okay, but
But
why does no one use them then?
Because the super cool thing in the Swartland is we talk about this a lot. We
Yeah.
get together and
Oh,
we
this is
speak
interesting,
and I think we still know that we need to raise the name and the image of the Swartland first.
So still flying the Swartland flag,
and
so to speak.
and it's not to say we won't use those names in the future, but
Yeah.
at the moment we want to get people in London and New York and
Can you not
Johannesburg.
put both on though if you're using?
No,
the-
SAWAS won't allow that.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
the
so
issue.
it's like one or the
Okay.
other.
So it's not like you can put Von Romani and Begonia on.
I wish you could.
Yeah,
It would be
okay.
awesome. Yeah,
That would make it a bit of a difference, wouldn't
yeah.
it?
Because so at the moment we're all trying to, and that's what's cool here is we're working together to elevate Swartland.
Yeah.
And then eventually Riebeek's Rivier or Riebeekberg or Malmesbury Hills will become appellations that are well known as, and then hopefully in future within them as well, more definition. But yeah, we're a few 100 years behind Burgundy, yeah. So that'll come eventually.
Yeah, you need some monks to move in.
Yeah,
They'll do all the work for you. I think that's us done from Allesverloren. Thanks very much for Allesverloren for hosting. What a phenomenal place. If you like powerful fortified wines, come and drink them all. They're delicious. We're going to come from Riebeek Kasteel Dorpie on Friday. Some Piketberg wine, some Porcellainberg wine. What else have we got? Maybe an olive oil or two. There's going to be some really tasty stuff, and it's going to be the last one. So I think all of the stops are off. No holds barred. So thanks very much for joining us. We'll see you on Friday at 6:30. Thanks very much, guys, and thank you very much for having us. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks, David.